Want to earn miles and money and help people from abroad get the products they need? People in Latin America have to pay a lot more for products like iPhones and electronics compared to what we pay in the United States. The team at Grabber created an app to help. You can earn points by buying products for people in Latin America. You get reimbursed for the products and paid for delivering them. Check out our show notes for a link to Grabber or go to grabr.io. Thank you to Grabber for partnering with this episode of the Geobreeze Travel Podcast. Everyone these days always asks, what are the COVID testing rules to travel to that country? It's best to check the official embassy websites, but it's also nice to have all of the rules in one place without having to check multiple sources each time. App in the Air is a free app and has a travel safe feature that lists updates to different countries' travel policies so you can stay up to date on the different COVID entry guidelines. Check out the app for free using the link in the show notes and get 20% off of your next flight when you book directly through App in the Air by using the code GeoBreeze at checkout. Thank you to App in the Air for partnering with this episode of the GeoBreeze Travel Podcast. Welcome to the Geobreeze Travel Podcast, a show for anyone wanting to level up their travel hacking lifestyle. I'm your host, Julia Menez. I'm a travel hacker, coach, speaker, Filipino-American ENTJ who loves solid travel gear and using shortcuts on spreadsheets. On this show, I'm on a mission to bring you travel hackers from all walks of life to help you level up your travel hacking game. We dive into credit cards, miles, points, strategy, mindset, and the secrets behind how to travel the world for next to no cost. So, let's get hacking.
In life, I feel like the luckiest person on earth. But like with credit card companies, it's just like weird stuff. Like I've had fraud like more than once. And I get like rejected for business cards, even though and Devin gets approved for them, even though we have a business partnership, like signed with the IRS. Like I have my own document. I'll get like rejected from them. So I just like don't have the courage to like sign up for all of these credit cards because I just feel like they're watching me. But Devin's lucky, so she gets to open up a little bit more.
Hey there, Points people. You just heard a clip from Kelsi and Devan from the Point Sisters. Kelsi and Devan have been traveling the world on points ever since the early 90s. They have lived in Mexico, Puerto Rico, Sri Lanka, Spain, and the USA, and have traveled to many more countries than that. Now they're based in San Diego, and they help others curate once-in-a-lifetime trips using points and miles. When they aren't traveling, they are sitting in the San Diego beaches soaking up the sun. In this episode, we talk about good luck and bad luck when it comes to points and miles. Everything from what to do if your credit cards get shut down due to fraudulent charges, to what happens if you get rejected for new cards, to how to find award space and take some amazing trips using your points. Speaking of good credit card luck, did you know you can check if you're targeted for special offers like extra 5x bonus categories at chase.com/mybonus? This past quarter, I received targeted offers to earn 5x on spending at restaurants and Amazon with 3 of my co-branded cards, World of Hyatt, IHG, and United. Many people also reported seeing the same offers on their Southwest cards as well. If you're interested in opening some Chase co-branded cards, always be sure to use a friend or creator's referral or affiliate links. If you would like to support this show when you open your next card, check out geobreezetravel.com/cards, which is also linked for you in the show notes. And now, on with the show. Hey, Kelsi. Hey, Devin. Welcome to the Geobreeze Travel Podcast.
Hi. Thanks so much for having us.
Of course. I am so excited to have you both here and to talk about this incredible trip that we are going to dive very deep into, how you guys were able to do this trip on points and miles. But before we get into that, tell us a little bit about yourselves and your background, and how did you get into the award travel world and the world of points and miles?
So I'm Devin. I have been in the travel hacking world we both have basically, for basically our entire lives. Our parents, we grew up abroad. So our parents needed to afford to bring us, back to the States to visit family and friends. So they really got us started on this. And from there, during the pandemic, I just found myself with a lot of extra time on my hands. So that's when I really just dove deep into this. And I kept telling Kels, I was like, Kels, this is what you need to do now to maximize, I think Chase had come out with 3X for groceries and how to maximize that and make sure she spent, I think it was like $1,000 a month for 6 months. So we started with little things like that and then just sort of kept on diving and it never ended. But I work in university recruitment. So I do have like a real-time job, and that allows me to travel hack a lot as well, or at least it used to prior to the pandemic. Yeah. So Devin used to, when she was a recruiter, she would travel for her recruitment events. So she did do a lot of traveling prior to 2020. But anyway, I'm Kelsi. I'm in environmental health. I used to work for the health department, but I recently went private and I just moved to San Diego. So that's really exciting. Really enjoying my job. Getting into ports and miles, no need to be redundant. Exactly what Dev just said, in it kind of early. And then during the pandemic, Devin got like really, really obsessive. And I'll never forget, like, kind of crazy. And I have like a job where I have to be in person. So I'm not really one of those people that has the flexibility of working from home all the time. And I remember just getting home from work one day and Devin was like, "Have you heard of a shopping portal?" And I was like, "No, what are you talking about? Like, you have spent far too much time doing this." And then the rest is kind of just history. Now it's like a really like it's an obsession. Like it's like an everyday thing that we sit and think about and talk about. And we talk about like accrual strategy, redemption strategy. Like we help our friends. We're on like a crusade for referrals. So like it's just kind of like become this like really crazy thing that's taken over our lives. But we don't hate it. I think we're really excited about it. So
Even though your parents had been into points and miles basically your whole lives, they weren't obsessive about it.
no, like they were very traditional. So my mom's dad was a pilot with American Airlines, early, like in the 50s. Not earlier. No, 50s. That's about right. And so she was kind of like one of the first people to ever have an American Airlines frequent flyer number. And she hit her like million mile member really early on in her life. And so it was kind of like just the more traditional, okay, well, we'll take these trips, we'll find good flights, we'll accrue our points. And then once we have enough points, we'll redeem them and maybe take like an extra trip. Like I remember once when we were young, our family lives in Massachusetts and they lived in Nevada and Puerto Rico. And so I remember one trip, every summer it was kind of like, okay, well, we have to get to these 3 destinations to see our family. But I remember one year we had like extra miles. And so my mom planned a trip to Miami. And so it would be things like that, kind of like an extra kind of like sweet little prize with our.
So, to add on to that, another thing our parents sort of got us into was that we were always flexible with our travel plans. My mom would actually choose dates where she knew there was going to be tons of flyers on that day, like so that we would intentionally get bumped, so that we would get, vouchers to then be able to use on another trip. Like we went to Costa Rica for free because we stayed back on Christmas so someone else could take our seats on the plane. So we did lots of things like that, but really got into it later on.
That's a really good tip if you have flexible travel arrangements to just travel on holidays or right before holidays when other people are going to be gunning for those seats, then you can get those flight vouchers. Was it mostly just holidays that you guys did this for, or was there any other times when it was particularly busy and you could get some of those vouchers?
I would say holidays, and then so basically the school schedule. So if you think about K through 12 and when they have times off, that's when it's going to be crazy busy travel. So whether that's going to be a holiday or it's just summer break, that's when you have a much higher chance of being able to get those vouchers if you're willing to stay back. And we were almost always put on the next flight, given vouchers to eat at the airport. This was hotel stays. This was really before Priority Pass. Now we are obsessive with Priority Pass as well. And so all of that. But yeah, I find if you look at a school schedule, that's how it works.
Yeah, it was. And I would say like, it was mostly holidays. I think the biggest one, the one where we were always like, oh yeah, you'll definitely get a voucher on that, was July 4th. I felt like we were always bumped on that flight. So who knows now, but yeah, it was mostly holidays.
I feel like another one is sports games. If people are fanatics and they're like, I need to make it to this city for this game or else everything is just ruined about this trip, then if you're willing to get bumped on that flight, if it's like a Super Bowl or March Madness or even like a college football playoff game, that you can get a lot of vouchers that way, because I feel like these days now, airlines are really good at modeling the holidays, so they know how to do that with revenue management. There is no way they can predict college football fanatics, especially if it's like a whole bunch of people going to a small town where the airport just doesn't have the ability to handle that for Lincoln, Nebraska or Ames, Iowa or somewhere like that. Then you can get some vouchers pretty easily that way too.
Yeah, that's a great tip. I'll have to start following sports. Yeah, that's a great tip, Julia.
Yep. Cool. So which credit cards did you guys start out with? And did you start before the pandemic, or was it like 0 to 60, got your first credit card, got 5 more, here we are?
No. I don't think either of us are like that. We're pretty, I don't want to use cool, calm, and collected, but I think cool, calm, and collected is a good word. Probably like 5 or 6. Well, let's see. Out of college, I got my first credit card, and I did the Barclays credit card where you got like 60,000 points sign-on bonus. And I used that because I lived in Sri Lanka for a few years. So that was just a great travel credit card for me to start out with. And then a couple years after that, I did the Chase Sapphire Reserve. And that's kind of always been the card that I hold onto pretty strong. But yeah, after that, it was kind of like Delta Amex,
which we ended up getting. Amex got upset with us.
Yeah, that was I was like on Amex's hate list for some reason, but that's another story for another time. Yeah, Southwest, Marriott, United, but like slow and steady, like every 3 months, every 4 months. I'm definitely not opening or, turning cards every month. You're kind of the same, right, Dev?
Yeah, I would say my first big one, I went full force with my first one, which, well, at least I think is full force with the Chase Sapphire Reserve. One thing I hate, though, I'm so mad at myself, is that I knew about the 100K sign-up bonus. I kept seeing all these things. I was targeted for it. Everyone's like, do it. I was just too scared of spending that $450 at the time. And 2 months later, after the 100K was over, that's when I decided to sign up. So I think I only got like 50K for that sign up bonus, but I love my Chase Sapphire Reserve, and it's been an incredible card, and I will keep it. Definitely downgrade and then upgrade and all that fun stuff, but we really like our Chase products. And then I would say I probably open up about 4 to 5 credit cards a year. So I think that's pretty slow and steady compared to what I've seen other people do.
Yeah. I wish I had the courage to open up so many, but I just feel like I have the worst luck.
She does. The worst luck.
I can't, like in life, I feel like I have great luck. Like in life, I feel like the luckiest person on earth. But like with credit card companies, it's just like weird stuff. Like I've had fraud like more than once. And I get like rejected for business cards, even though and Devin gets approved for them, even though we have a business partnership, like signed with the IRS. Like I have my own document. I'll get like rejected from them. So I just like don't have the courage to like sign up for all of these credit cards because I just feel like they're watching me. But Devin's lucky, so she gets to open up a little bit more.
Tell us more about the financial fraud. What happened?
Yeah.
Which one?
Oh God, that was terrible. Like that was awful. So like the first time, whoopsie poopsie, that was kind of my bad. So it's happened a few times, not only with credit cards. So the first time was we were on a Euro trip in, I don't know, like we were 20. I was 20. We were 20 and used a debit card to withdraw money. I wouldn't do that today. Again, this is 10, 11 years ago. I wouldn't do this today, but I withdrew money for an ATM and somebody just like, duplicated my card. And I got home like a few weeks later because again, this was like before you had like banking apps, like before you had internet all the time. So like, I just wasn't even checking my credit card, my bank account. Got home and $3,000 had been withdrawn from my bank account. It was
And
terrible.
Again, $3,000 is a lot, but it's especially a lot for a 19, 20-year-old.
Yeah, like this was like everything I had saved, in college. I was like a spin instructor and like worked all these like terrible jobs, like making people coffee. And so someone had withdrawn $3,000 before I noticed. Thankfully, it's all backed by the FDIC. So it was given back to me a few months later. And then later I had credit card fraud twice, both times in Mexico. And I think I have a hypothesis as to why it happened. So Mexico City in particular, that's where we grew up. So I spent a lot of time there. They have city open Wi-Fi and it's not secure. So I think sometimes in like a pinch, I would like maybe log on or like some sensitive data would be taken. And so I had credit card fraud twice there, but both times it was caught with, only mild theft. So, well, we're all good now, but just bad freaking luck. So yeah.
Do you have any additional protections that you go through now to keep this from happening? Any advice for listeners about how to not have this happen? Because, I mean, you're going to connect to Wi-Fi if you're traveling. So it is what it is there. But any other tips?
So you can get like a data protection, which is fine. You can like buy a service. I think a lot of employers offer it. So you can buy that, which is good. But I actually have a VPN. So I use like my own VPN. And I actually changed my passwords to all my bank accounts, like everything, absolutely everything, like my brokerage accounts, my retirement accounts, my savings accounts, my credit card accounts. I change them monthly. But I would say the biggest thing we do that I have found from just talking to family and friends is that we have different passwords for everything.
Yeah.
So that if one thing does go wrong, at least you can't get into our other accounts. Whereas I know a lot of people have literally the same password for everything. So that is one thing that I know we both do.
Yeah. What about you, Julia? You do anything?
I have LifeLock.
Okay.
And honestly, I only have it because they had 90% back on Rakuten.
Oh, I saw your post on that. That was a great post. Yeah.
Yeah. And with Amex points being valued at around 2 cents per piece, if you're getting 90 cents back, like you're making money off of that transaction. So I did it for the Amex points and I was like, I open a lot of accounts. So it's probably good that they're watching me. Anyway, I have LastPass to create secure passwords, two-factor authentication on my phone.
Oh yeah, I have that for my crypto. Yeah.
It gets really annoying whenever I'm like, oh, where's my phone? I have to like enter in the little PIN code things. So it is really annoying, but I have not, knock on wood, I don't think been a victim of financial fraud. So yeah.
Good for you. I pray that you never have that experience.
I'm sure it's terrifying. Like, do you guys ever do freezing your credit as well?
No, I didn't freeze my credit, but like I'll freeze my accounts. Like it just happened to me back in August and I just froze all my accounts. So until they sent me new cards. But no, I haven't like, you mean calling all the credit bureaus and like freezing I haven't done that because I just feel like doing that would be really convoluted to like unfreeze your credit. So thankfully it hasn't gotten to that.
I think it's also just really important for everybody who's listening to these episodes because they're probably opening accounts all over the place, like as much as possible, safeguard against it because first of all, it's going to derail your life. Like it's seriously going to derail your life if you are a victim of identity theft and like you're not going to be able to get points and miles. And that is going to be the least of your worries at that point if your identity is stolen and you have your credit card account stolen or anything like that. So I think it's really important for people to know those types of things. So what happened with Amex? Why do they hate you?
So this was before we were in the travel hacking sphere at all. We both opened up the Delta Amex card and I don't know, we maybe got like 80,000 bonus points for hitting 4,000. We didn't know anything about canceling a credit card. We had never done that before. And it actually wasn't because we were trying to travel hack or hack the system or anything like that. It had to do with Delta pissed us both off. And we were like, well, you know what? To combat this, we're canceling our credit card. Like we're done. Now we would never do this now, but just so that everybody knows.
For reference, this was in 2016.
Yeah, this was a while
So
ago.
Amex holds a grudge.
Mm-hmm. And because we canceled our card before the year was up, and we had kept it the full year, but because we canceled it, basically right at the year mark, they have put us on their pop-up list to where we can't open up American Express cards and get bonuses for them. We're currently working on a workaround for that. But yeah, as of right now, we both are in pop-up jail.
What's the workaround?
Well, we'll see if it actually works.
I think it will.
But my partner, he is in the military. So he gets every card for free, basically, as long as it's a personal card with American Express or Chase. And I got him the platinum. And then he's allowed to add us on as authorized users for free as well because he's military. So we've both been authorized users on his account for a few months now. So we're hoping, based on some things we've read online, that maybe we'll be out of pop-up jail, but we're going slow and steady. We're both under 524 right now. So we're really just concerned about Chase, but we're like, let's get as many, months in with Amex so that they can be happy with us and not hate us anymore. So that's our goal.
Let's talk about this awesome trip that you guys were able to redeem on points and miles. So
yeah, this was all Deb. So Deb, take it.
Yeah.
The spotlight.
So as I said, my partner is military and he didn't know anything about credit. He knew nothing about his benefits. And my biggest thing with him when I found out and we started dating was, okay, I want to see, what type of benefits you get, because honestly, I didn't know either. I wasn't in the military sphere at all. And once I went down this deep, dark hole of military benefits, I've just come out a better person. And because of that, we started like opening up credit cards for him. But also when the pandemic hit, I had just switched jobs and we were meant to be staying at Marriott's a lot. So I was like, oh, perfect timing for me to open up the Marriott Bonvoy card. They had a 100K sign up bonus, plus, your free anniversary night. There were quite a few perks at that time because I think they just knew that the pandemic was coming. So I opened up that card in 2020, hit the minimum spend pretty easily. And then from there, I was just sort of holding on to those points, not really sure what to redeem them for. We were in quarantine, nothing was happening, but I knew I wanted to use those points. And then when I met him, I made sure that he accrued a ton of points as well. I was accruing on my Chase Sapphire Reserve. And in March 2021, so about a year after all this happened, I saw that I think on the points guy that the Le Méridien Maldives was opening up. And I was working out. I remember exactly what I was doing. I was downstairs working out and I saw this come through on my feed at about 30K a night stays at Le Méridien in the Maldives. And I stopped my workout. I ran upstairs and I got on and I booked. Like, I'm not even kidding. My partner was so confused. He was like, what just happened? Because I ran. And I was like, perfect. I have a free night start already. I have all the points that I need for this particular stay. It was his 30th birthday. So I wanted to do something special for him. And it took me probably 20 minutes to figure out the dates we wanted to go, find the redemption we wanted. We got 6 nights there for 120,000 Marriott points. So we paid for 4 nights at 30K, and then we get the 5th night free and the 6th night free because of my cert. So with all of that, we were able to do that. And then I knew that we wanted a bigger trip I wanted a bigger trip because it was his 30th. So I decided to add on Europe since he had never been. So we went to Turkey. I really wanted to do, we were in Cappadocia and I really wanted to do the hot air balloons. Unfortunately, that did not work out. It rained every single day we were there. So they were canceled, but it's okay. It was still beautiful. Then from there, we ended up going to France. I have some friends in Europe. Actually, my best friend is there. So she and her husband met us in France and we stayed at the Hilton Paris Opera using the Amex Platinum credit, the $200. We also got our gold status, honored. And then we moved over to another hotel in the heart of Paris as well, using my Chase Sapphire Reserve points. And that was I don't even know. I think it was 10,000 points, if I remember correctly. And then we went to Belgium and just hung out at my friend's Airbnb there. So there was a lot going on, but overall it was about a $25,000 to $30,000 trip. And total, we paid about $4,500 for both of us for all of this.
If you are listening to this episode thinking, I wish I could travel like this, but I don't know where to start, I offer free credit card consultations by email at geobreezetravel.com/consultations. Additionally, I host a masterclass and group coaching session each month. You can find the links to sign up for the consultations, monthly masterclasses, and Patreon, which gets you access to the masterclasses and also recordings of all past events in the show notes. This week's Patreon shout out goes out to Richa. Thank you so much for being a part of the Geobreeze Travel Patreon community. What did you fly?
Everything. So we did Singapore Air from LAX. We're based in San Diego. So we drove up to LA. We flew Singapore Air to the Maldives, to Male. Then we took our seaplane transfer and did all that fun stuff. Once we got to the Maldives, Then from Male, we went nonstop to Istanbul and then Cappadocia, Turkish, and we got business on that. Oh, I should say Singapore Air, we spent, I think it was 46,000 miles and $10. It was economy, but I had a really strange feeling that we were going to get poor man's business. And we did. The plane was empty. I'm pretty sure there was 20 people on this entire flight because Singapore was pretty intense with, how to transfer and you're not allowed into the country and all of that because this was during COVID. And then we flew Turkish. It was 45,000 for business class. And I want to say about 200 and something dollars each in taxes. Then we flew using United points from Cappadocia to France, and then we trained it to Belgium. And then Avianca Life Miles, but on a United metal back to the US. I actually went to Africa, different trip, but to send my partner back to the US, we used United via Avianca Life Miles during the Amex,
redemption.
They gave you, I think,
bonus.
20% bonus points or something like that.
So this isn't all Chase points. You used a little bit of Chase, a little bit of Amex. Which cards were most instrumental in order to do this?
I would say definitely the American Express Platinum and my Chase Sapphire Reserve. But then, of course, I can't forget Marriott because without the Marriott point, the Maldives part wouldn't have happened. But yeah, definitely for flights, it was going to be the Chase Sapphire Reserve. Oh, I'm sorry. And my Capital One venture. I totally forgot.
Devin, she said one card. You just gave all your cards. But that card was instrumental. All of them?
All of them.
No, but the point is it's a dance, right?
I definitely made it work for what I needed. But yeah, probably the Platinum because it got us some flights and some hotels.
How are you piecing this together and finding the award space and everything? Because if you're transferring from that many different programs to that many different airlines, the stars kind of have to align for you to find that award space, right? Or was it just because it was the pandemic and empty? How are you piecing this together?
It was a lot. It was a lot of work. I'm not going to lie. It was a lot of work, but it was all done by myself. I didn't use any type of, I don't even know what they're called, but juicy miles and stuff like that. I don't even think they're called that anymore.
Well,
piece it together.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, a huge part of this too was just their immense flexibility, right? I think, they had kind of booked Maldives and they're like, all right, well, we're going to the Maldives, but I don't think you had it in mind that, it wasn't okay, our itinerary will be Male, Istanbul, Paris. I think it just,
right, was what will work out.
Yeah, it's they were, they had the flight to the Male and then to the Maldives, and then they just found an awesome redemption on Turkish to Istanbul. And I think they kind of pieced the trip together that way. I don't know. I don't want to speak for you, but yeah, I feel like you guys are super flexible.
Yeah, we were very flexible. I will say I got really lucky and I don't know how it happened. Maybe it's because Le Méridien had just opened in September, but I was able to change that award space 4 times. I had to move the dates a little bit to align with the flights I wanted to take or the flight availability. So it wasn't as easy as just book the 6 nights and then I'll book the flights. I then had to finagle some things. Nothing changed drastically. It was maybe push one day this way, push one day that way. But yeah, just flexibility was what made this happen.
Flexibility is key. Yeah. So you booked one of those nights with a certificate and then the rest of them on points. Did you have to make 2 different reservations and have them kind of added together, or how do you do this?
No, so actually the Marriott website does it for you. It knew I had a cert on my account and it did the 5th night free. One thing I did try to do, and it won't work, was to use the free night within the 5 nights, if that makes sense, so that I didn't have to do 6 nights. So I was a little worried 6 nights would be too much in the Maldives. It was actually perfect. I highly recommend, but you're not able to do that. So those free night certs, you have to either use that or use the 5th night free. You can't put them together.
I think we've been using points and miles forever. All of our trips have been
in some way subsidized by points and miles pretty much our whole life. Like whether it's the hotel or the airplane, the flight, vice versa. But this one was like your one really, really, really massive trip, like luxury trip that was pretty much all points and miles funded. I think it's kind of like the culmination of like a lot of, I don't know, late nights down dark rabbit holes in the past couple of years, because up until this point, all of our trips have been, somewhat funded by points and miles, but this was like Devan's really big, like, okay, this is just massive, right?
Yeah. And for sure with staying in hotels, we're actually pretty big hostel people, even though we are, I'm not 30 yet, but I'm close enough to my 30s.
All right, calm down. Calm down over there.
She's obviously the older one.
No, but it's true. Like I always tell Deb this, like if I'm traveling alone, because sometimes my partner can't come with me, like if I'm traveling alone, I don't want to be in a Hilton hotel room by myself. Like I want to be in a hostel with other people. It's just, I think we're people, and so yeah, we like it all. We like travel in general. I think we feel very like privileged to be able to travel and go places. And so
like, we definitely love the luxury, but we also love slumming it. So we're good for both ends. And I guess that goes with just being flexible about what you can afford and what you can do. I get way more excited when I find an amazing redemption than I do about most things in life, which is probably problematic, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So what's your next trip you're planning?
My partner and I are leaving to Finland in like 3 weeks to go to like an igloo, one of those big things, and hopefully see the Northern Lights. And then we're going to do the Christmas markets in Germany and then fly back to Vegas for Christmas and spend that with my mom, since that's where she's located.
Is this all on points?
100%. Oh, sorry.
The igloo is on points?
Yeah. So CSR, Chase Sapphire Reserve right now with, I'm not going to say the name right, but it's like Kakskluten or something like that. And yeah, the igloo, I want to say was 33,000 ultimate rewards points. So really great redemption, because I think that has to do with COVID, to be honest. Because I've never seen them for under $1,000. Or sorry, I think it does cost $1,000 a night. I've never seen them for under like $1,500 a night, but I ended up finding it for $1,000. And then when you do the 50%, Chase Ultimate Rewards. So yeah, that's how I booked. I actually went through the Chase portal for it.
Awesome. You can book igloos on the Chase portal.
Yeah, I know, right?
Book igloos.
And actually, there were quite a few options. American Express also had them. It was just not nearly as good of a redemption.
My favorite US destination is Las Vegas because it's the mecca of travel hacking with all of the free stuff that you can do with the My Vegas app and the status matching and everything else.
Oh my God, My Vegas app is like addicting.
Yeah, I just came from Vegas. I went earlier this week for a Hyatt. I have a problem.
She did the merry-go-round.
But I did the merry-go-round. Yeah. So that was really nice. And now I have Explorist minimum. We'll see if I'm able to get to Globalist. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, we lived in Vegas for a long time, actually. So we're big Vegas fans too. So if you're ever in town, like let us know, because we might randomly be in town. But actually, what I was going to say was my favorite US destination is actually Glacier National Park in Montana.
Oh, yeah.
That is, have you ever been north? Like, have you ever been north?
I've been north. I have not been to Montana. I've been to like North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota. Going to Montana for a wedding next year, and they actually have really good Marriott redemptions because those, like the Fairfield Inn or just the lower end hotels normally, they are very expensive during high season for national parks. And so you're getting like $300 or $400 a night of value for not a lot of points, because normally they're just like a category 2, category 3 type of deal. So it's actually a really good way to spend Marriott points is at Glacier National Park.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm glad you're going. And since you haven't been before, you're going to love it. Like it is I've been a lot of places like in the world, and it's like one of my favorite places, I think, in the world. Like it's magnificient.
I hope so, because I'm not a nature person.
Oh, okay. That would make a lot of sense since your answer to your favorite place in the US being Vegas. Yes. Not a nature person. Concrete jungle person.
Favorite place I've probably been in the world is Singapore, largely due to Singapore airport. So I'm not a nature person. I'm very much a city person. I'm like, oh, the logistics and like the engineering and the city planning and like the planning of loyalty programs. These are great. Yeah. Singapore airport, Las Vegas. These are the places that I live near New York. The Glacier National Park will be beautiful.
Yeah. No, Singapore, I've been a few times, but I think for me, it was just like really clean. I was like, what is this?
It's magically clean. It says a lot about me. It's about the travel hacking, the points and miles, and my priorities in life. So. Awesome. As we're wrapping up here, what would you say is your number one best piece of advice that you've learned while getting into the game of points and miles?
I would say that I feel like I hear people say it all the time, but that any redemption that is good to you is a good redemption.
Like, don't compare yourself.
It doesn't have to mean that you saved $100,000. It could be you saved $100, but hey, that was the difference between getting to do something and not getting to do something. The other thing is just get started. Like I said, I missed out on a $100K bonus because I was afraid of a $450 fee that I have gotten back twofold every single year easily. So don't miss out on those little things for fear of, annual fees. Now, of course, be smart about it as well. Make sure you're actually using the perks of the card. But as long as you're doing that, just get started.
Yeah, you said it awesome. That was great.
Thanks.
I don't need to add. That was great. Great way to end.
Awesome. And speaking of great advice, can you give a shout out to somebody else on the internet that people should follow for awesome points and miles tips?
Yes, we're so ready for you to ask us.
So I would say definitely the Frugal Tourist. He's amazing. He's just so nice, first of all. And I'm pretty sure this man does not sleep. He is up 24/7 and he's in San Francisco. So we're on the same time zone. And, I was in Africa and he'd be texting me when I knew it was like 3 a.m. here. So he's amazing. He makes things really easy to understand. I would also say the points analyst, joining his Patreon group as well as your Patreon group has been very helpful. And, pack your bags with points, very helpful as well. Anyone else? There's so many.
Yeah. I think that's like the thing. Devin and I are like obsessed with the community because they're all just such lovely people. So, shout out to everyone, but especially those three that we just said.
Yeah. Awesome. And where can we find you on the internet?
Oh my gosh. We just launched our website. We finished it. Yes, today. So you can find us on pointsisters.com.
And also at Point Sisters on Instagram. Technically, we are on Twitter, but I highly recommend don't go there because I have no idea what is on there. We are also on TikTok. We don't have Facebook yet, but with our blog starting up on our website, we might dabble in it. But we feel like there's so many on Facebook already that we might stay off for a little bit. But for now, that's where you can find us. Definitely Instagram and our website.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much for coming on to the show today. It was so nice getting to hear about how you get really lucky with points, how you can get really unlucky with credit cards, how to avoid getting unlucky, and how to propel your chances of getting awesome redemptions. And really, it sometimes just comes down to being flexible, which is a fantastic tip.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us, Julia. We listen to your podcast, all the time. And yeah, it's just such an honor to be here with you. So thanks.
Thank you both so much. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Geobreeze Travel Podcast. If any of the cards mentioned in today's episode piqued your interest, please check out the links in the show notes for more information on any of the cards. Also, if you apply for a card using the links on that page, I may receive a commission too, so please and thank you. P.S. I hear the links work better in Internet Explorer or Safari, and sometimes the credit card applications tend to glitch out in Chrome. Additionally, it would mean the world to me if you could subscribe to this podcast, leave a 5-star review, and share it with a friend. And if you would like to make even more travel hacking friends, please sign up for the Patreon to access our monthly masterclass hangouts. We dive deep into a particular points program each month, and you'll get to ask all of your travel hacking questions and enjoy being around other people who enjoy points and miles just as much as you and I do. If you would like an invite to the next one, head over to geobreezetravel.com/hangouts to sign up to be on the invite list. Take care and happy travels!